with Ken. And so first, once again, I'm Andrew. I'm actually a member of the Film Critics Circle of Australia and also a regular movie host at the FCC if you have seen me before. Let me introduce Director Ken in a few words. Director Ken is a self-taught filmmaker who started his career as a sound recordist in a television station before moving on to create a number of short films. He has been working on television for a number of years now, over a couple of decades, and then also in other formats as well. The Pendatang is actually his first directorial feature film, and the movie has actually been crowdfunded as well. So it was released on YouTube in December 2023, and to date it has over 4.5 million viewers today. Please have a round of applause for So I will kick off with a few questions before I let everyone else to have a crack at Ken. So I think the first question I think I'll ask you is because let me put it in because as a lifelong Bruce Lee fan, I realized that you actually are a Bruce Lee fan as well. And how did you use Bruce Lee philosophy, like the water philosophy, in this movie as well? And how did you approach this to make Pendatang?
Yeah, as broad as the philosophy, just be like water can be so many things, you know. So the thing I like about it is it sounds so simple, but yet there are so many layers. Depends on how you look at it. So obviously being the first feature for me, it started as a very daunting task, trying to bring the script to life. And instead of panicking on how to do it exactly, I just like, okay, be like water, my friend. so basically I just let everything happen at their own pace, at their own opportunity, meet the people at their own chances, and step by step we got through the process almost painlessly. I would say I've been in the industry for more than 20 years, and surprisingly, for my biggest project to date, it is also the easiest for me when we were doing this on set, because everyone was just on the same page and everyone is giving their best, and actually I didn't have to demand much from everyone because everyone themselves, they were already giving the best that they could. So, and also I didn't know exactly how the outcome is going to be. Again, I trusted the process. It's okay not to have the perfect visual in your head when you are making it. That is something also I try to allow myself to be in the zone, be like water zone. You know, just let it flow at their own pace, and eventually see how it happens. Actually, the final film that you watched and the film that I had in my mind is actually very different, because the editor did an amazing work by chopping off so many unnecessary things. That is also how I think the water thingy came in. So I just let her do her thing, you know, like, okay. So the first cut was I think half an hour longer than this one, and she kept asking me, you know, do you want to keep this? I said yes. Do you want to keep this? I said yes. Of course I want to keep everything, you know. But I understand that I cannot afford to do this, you know. I have to let the editor do her work. So I just let her do her thing, and this is the result of the editing actually. So it wasn't really my final say on everything. It's really a team effort from every department coming to this. I just get to be in the same room with them at some point.
So this is next question, because this is such a thought-provoking film, touches on many social concerns, a lot of racism issues as well, divides and everything. I think was it based on a real incident that actually sparked this project? Maybe you can elaborate it on.
Yes. Back in 2015, I think 16, there was this incident in Kuala Lumpur where at this digital complex where electronics were sold in this particular building, there was a misunderstanding of a phone. So basically, this guy was looking at a phone, and then suddenly he just ran away. So obviously the shopkeeper would chase after him, you know. So when they chased after him, and the rest of the staff there saw this. Obviously they want to help him chase the guy, and everybody really like chasing this guy out of the building and outside the building. And then the other people from outside the building saw, hey, why are there so many people chasing after this guy, you know? And then they tried to come and back him up. So this little misunderstanding, this little incident has led to a sudden eruption of online violence, not physical violence, but the next 48 hours online, it was very hot. Like the Malays were accusing the Chinese of bullying the Malays, and the Chinese are saying you Malays are stealing from us, you know. But majority of the people were not even at the scene. So this is just based on the sentiment that is everybody just like throwing fuel into the fire, you know. So, but it just died down quickly as well. So that particular incident inspired the writer to write the script. He said, wow, like he didn't realize that the social construct is so fragile of the different races in Malaysia. So they got him interested, you know, what if one of these incidents actually led to something much bigger that everyone just like didn't have any idea how to handle, but just, you know, let the domino effect take place, you know, one thing led to another. So that's how we got the idea to write the script.
So another thing is like, so this film was portrayed from a Chinese Malaysian perspective. Was there a reason why you focus on this perspective rather than a Malaysian perspective?
Interestingly, when Lim Boon Siang, the writer, wrote the script, the first draft, it was actually the Malay family who found a Chinese girl in their home. But thinking deeper about it, he felt that it was unnecessary and also not right in a sense, because he's a Chinese, to write a Malay family in this case. And the advantage of him changing it to a Chinese family, he suddenly could add a lot of nuances in their everyday life that adds to the story, you know, the riches that we see. So I thought that was a correct move on his part.
And also since it has the movie release has 4.5 million viewers on YouTube today, why do you think it connects beyond Malaysia? It connects to like a worldwide audience. Like I think there's a lot of issues going as well with Donald Trump with Mexico and everything, all the racial divides everywhere. Why do you think it connects like to universal?
Because I think the theme is very universal. It's just a simple. It's not simple, but it's a theme that everybody understands that could connect to, which is humanity. And throughout, especially in the last 10 years or so, we often see many countries facing the similar issues, where one, you know, like dictatorship is taking over now slowly, and suddenly it seems that the whole world could respond to the theme. So one of the reasons why I thought this could make a good project is because I understand that the theme itself could carry the film beyond Malaysian audience, that it could actually translate to anywhere. Basically, if you take the same storyline and you put it in another country, it could just work the same. Yeah, that's how universal the theme is.
And also this is your first feature, you know, like is there some what's some difficult scenes that you was for you personally experienced? Like what's some very difficult scenes that you experienced?
Yeah. Like I say, I couldn't believe my the luck I had with this film, where everyone just give their everything, and everything just happened unimaginably easy. But in this case, I would say it's a scene where the father brought the snake to show the little girl. So if you have any friends who work in the industry also, they always tell you never to work with children, or animal. But we're both in this scene. So I've been thinking about that scene for a long time, because I could never imagine how the kid would react to the snake, and how the snake would react to the girl. You know, it could turn really nasty, you know, if you're not careful. So, but when they came, I still remember. It was still like early in the shoot. The total shoot days was 15 days. So we shot the snake scene on day 3 or 4. In these past 3 days, Panda or Raifa in this her real name in this story, she never spoke much to me, and also she didn't smile. I think she was very shy. She was very shy, and the fact that the entire crew was predominantly Chinese, so she felt a bit out of place. So she always stick to her mom on set. I've never seen her smile until that day. So I was so worried. And in the morning when the snake wrangler came, so I asked the snake wrangler, can you please like show this to her so that they can be friends a little bit, you know, so I know how she would react before we actually start to shoot the scene. And when the snake wrangler opened the box and showed her the snake, that was the first time I saw her smile. She loved the snake. So apparently the project that she was in prior to this, she had a chance to play with snakes, and she was like already like accustomed to them, so used to working with them. So she was just smiling, you know, from ear to ear, so happy to see the snake, and show it for everyone. And I thought, like, man, like I'm just so lucky, you know, that this thing happened and not the other way around. Yeah.
And I want to ask one last question before I open the floor. So this film was entirely funded by crowdfunding. I think it was around $90K US, I think, in up raising. And why was this the case? Like you guys went instead of private investors?
Okay, when this script was sent to me by the producer, and I said, okay, this is the script that I'm interested in. I want to do it, but how are we going to do it? A subject matter like this it's not going to be easy to find investors. If we were able to find them, they would most likely want to change some things, you know, here or there. And we thought this is one project that we should have the full creative control, because we want to stick as close to the script. And how are we gonna do that if we have investors? And also with this subject matter, we were thinking it might not get released in cinemas, and therefore it cannot repay the investors. So that is another risk. We cannot afford to take that risk. So the next betting is the point of the project is to show it to as many people as possible, far and wide. And we were thinking the best platform to do this is actually on social media, on YouTube, you know, where, because if you put it on in a cinema, in smaller places in Malaysia, they might not even have cinemas. So you lose that part of the audience, you know. So with internet penetration is relatively high in Malaysia, so we thought, so basically anyone with internet connection could access to it. So that is the point that we want to, you know, that let's do that, you know. There's a platform we decided to choose, and that led to crowdfunding. Like, okay, now we have established that we want to put it on YouTube, meaning we could either monetize it by having ads running in at the same time when you're watching it, or we do not monetize it at all. So the next question was that, and we decided, because those in the team, the producers and me, you know, we all watch YouTube a lot, and we all hate ads on YouTube, right? Hate skipping. Okay, let's do a favor for everyone, you know. We just forgo the monetization and just let people watch in peace. And that is also because part of the crowdfunding, you know. If we crowdfund, we get money from the public, and if we monetize it on YouTube, that is not fair to those people, you know. And if we were to like give them back some percentage, that is going to be tricky, you know, like you have so many hundreds of people involved, you know. So how are you going to do the calculation and all? So the easiest way is not to have monetization at all. And yeah, and that's it.
And that's why you're here today. I'll open the floor up. Any first takers?
Ooh.
So fast. I'll kick off with Billy.
Oh, thank you. Director Ken, fantastic, emotive, great song towards the end. I have two questions. Credit to the sound department as well. Fabulous dialogue. Are you taping those dialogue on site, or are you doing
Yes.
replacement later? And second is, who did the soundtrack?
Who did the soundtrack?
The soundtrack, yeah.
Okay, the first question, we actually ended up using more than 90% of location sound. Yeah, so that is part of the design as well. I told the sound recorders that we want to capture as much of the location, of their emotions. So we will try not to rely on ADR or dubbing. So that was the decision. And although there were issues, very typical issues when you have location sounds, like because we're hiding their mic in the shirt, so it's very common to have rustling sounds with the wardrobe and all. So the audio post team actually spent a lot of time just to clean up those noises, to retain the audio from the location. So yeah, kudos to them. They really put in a lot of work, because it would be easier for them to say, nah, this is too much, you know. It's easier if we just dub over them, you know. But they didn't, because they share the similar vision that we should keep this as natural as possible. So that's that. Second question, the score done by this artist called Teo Wei Yin. She's a indie filmmaker as well, but her forte is music. She loves to compose for films and all that. But prior to Pendatang, she has only been working on short films and all. So I thought, if Kuman Pictures, the producers, are willing to give a newcomer like me to direct a film, you know. So I just pay it forward, you know. We have never done a feature film, so I've never done it as well. So let's do it together, you know. Because I believe she shared the same taste. So when we discuss about something, she immediately get what I was saying. So I believe that, I trusted her that she could do the job. So it was her first attempt as well.
It's excellent soundtrack. Actually.
Yeah, fantastic. So you have a cinematographer to work with her?
The cinematographer is someone I've worked with a long time ago. He is actually a very in-demand cinematographer in Malaysia. So he shoots a lot of the big budget films in Malaysia. And I caught him at the right time, because he's been doing all this big budget stuff for the last 5 years, and he said he's just too tired, you know, he's just too tired. So we got him at a good time where he just wanted to do something small and yet impactful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Andrew?
We don't have microphones,
Oh, no
right? Because we
microphone.
couldn't hear the question. Anyway, never mind. I think I'm probably audible. Well, thanks, of course, to the director. I have to say that from an international perspective, and also knowing Cantonese, my first thoughts about the whole film were the universal relevance rather than the local one. I took it as being illustrative. I'm interested though in your crowdfunding model. How sustainable is that? And was that adopted partly not only for the reasons you gave, but because there was concern about government interference or pressure or something of the kind? I mean, to be within the four walls.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
That too. So do you think that will be, I mean, if you continue to produce edgy movies of this kind, then you're going to have to be doing it all essentially pro bono in the future, or what do you think?
Obviously not pro bono. But I think every project is different in which you can approach it. So this one is okay. The thing about just didn't want to risk it. But we never know. Until this day, we were still joking about it. Like before we know, we send in, we could get like totally no cuts. We don't know. But that was the risk that we didn't want to take.
Thank you.
Yeah, next question, yeah. Raymond?
Thank you for this film. It's the violence, I must say, is visceral, like, and it's really quite, I think it had everyone on edge. I have two questions as well. The first one is, given the dystopian setting of the film, was there a possible kind of direction in which you might have filmed this almost like a sort of an urban setting in, for example, a futuristic KL with each with its own war zone kind of thing, with that theme of segregation still there? Because this is visually very different. It shows the beautiful Malaysian countryside, and it's just one house. What was the creative process in that? And the second question is, the main character is, I think it's fair to say, is the father. But you make a point to highlight that he voted
Yes.
for this segregation policy to be implemented. And the way he dies so unceremoniously at the end, like, I don't think there's even a lingering shot of his body.
Correct.
Like, is he in some ways like the little man, or the common man, the architect of this whole mess as well?
Yes, that's the answer. Okay, so when it comes to your first question, the script is written that way to be set in just one main location, which is the house, which works perfectly with our crowdfunding model.
Right. Yeah.
Because we couldn't actually afford anything bigger than this, to be set in a KL dystopian way, and also I didn't see it as a setback. In fact, I see it as an opportunity to actually showcase what Malaysia has to offer.
Absolutely.
The moment you step out of KL, you get a different landscape altogether, and stuff like that. As for the second question, is yes, I thought about how to shoot the death of the characters, because when I was reading the script, I was like, oh man, they die? Like, oh man, he died? so like, what is he trying to do? Killing all these main characters. So like, okay, how am I going to do this? So the best way I thought of doing this is actually, like you say, we don't linger on their death, because I believe in real life, when you're in that situation, there won't be any time for you to do that, and also it reflects all to the it reflects that your death may not mean anything to the other characters. Like the father's death means nothing to the other militiamen, to the bad guys, nothing. Yeah. So when the father discovers that the family died in the van, you could see some sort of emotion, because they're a family. Yeah,
but even then he
but even then he was forced to leave, so he has no time to dwell on it, But the moment you are outside of your family, you are nothing to anyone. So you die, you just die.
So when I was watching it, immediately segregation springs to mind. And I thought of South Africa and apartheid. I also thought of America, the difference between black and white people in the times. But what I was thinking was, when I lived in Malaysia, there's three races that live in harmony in Malaysia. You've got the Malay, the Indian, and the Chinese. And on the surface, it looks all harmonious. But when you start to delve inside, it really is not. And there are differences. And in 2018, I think, was the big election of a new party that was supposed to bring consistency across the three groups. And I left in 2019, so, but I don't believe it did happen in the Times. There's a lot of corruption. And I just wondered whether the person that wrote this film and whether you, when you were directing this film, was wondering if this could be something that might happen in the future of Malaysia with the three distinct ethnic groups. Is somebody going to come along and say, this is my country and this is what we're going to do?
Yes. So ultimately, this is a cautionary tale. It's just to remind people, if we continue down this path, this could happen. Yeah, it's just simple as that. Do you want this to happen? You know? So if not, better be careful in what you do, in what you say. You know? So now therefore all these things, which I truly believe they don't want it to be that way, but somehow it's just the always say that the positions force them to do stuff like that.
So on that note, is this why this film is not open in Malaysia?
Well,
on the internet it's not.
It is.
Yeah.
You can watch it in Malaysia.
But it's not on a big film, it's not on a big screen.
It's not in the cinema.
Yeah.
But interestingly, you know, the chairman of FINAS, which is the film development body in Malaysia, said in his own personal tweet, when this film was released, he said this film should be screened in every school. Ironically.
Very good.
I just wondered if you, excuse me, I'm going to sing, but it's the words that matter. When I needed a neighbour, were you there? Were you there? When I needed a neighbour, were you there? And the creed and the colour and the name don't matter, were you there? And I think that's what's behind all of it. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you. Where's the song from?
Sorry?
Where's the song from?
It's from a book about people getting together and sharing similarities. Not, oh, you look different. So what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can I just ask, I mean, obviously the budget's relatively small compared to, to big blockbuster movies. So I'm assuming the cast are relatively amateur. Well, that's actually the question. Are they established actors or are they relatively new to film?
It's a mix. Wong, the father, only been acting for 3 years before Pendatang. So he's a latecomer to the scene, and he started in theatre. And this guy is probably the more veteran. So he's a child actor.
Bobby.
Yeah. So he started acting like 7 again. So when we shot, he was 10. Yeah. So he has more experience. And she is also a veteran in the industry. So the mother, Shan, has been acting, I think, for more than 10 years in television.
Okay.
Yeah. And Shireen, who plays the daughter, she just finished high school then. So she only been acting in school dramas.
She's doing a great job.
Yeah, so this is
She
her
was
first
excellent.
on-screen performance.
Yeah.
Not even on TV. First on-screen in front of camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a mix.
And also Auntie was very good.
Andy
Yeah.
Cooper.
Auntie is actually quite a popular senior singer in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special.
When in the 80s they set up a bank called Bank Brahmaputra.
Sorry?
They set up a bank called Bank Brahmaputra.
Bumiputra.
Yeah, and it was designed to help the Brahmaputra people because they've been typically regarded as being left behind, discriminated against on their own soil. So they built Bank Brahmaputra up and ended up lending a lot of money in Hong Kong to a property developer.
Ah.
It was a company called Karen. And Bank Boom Putra lent so much money to a Hong Kong Chinese bank, to a Hong Kong Chinese property developer. It was at one time the largest bank by capitalization in the world. The Chinese property developer was a guy called George Tan, a Campon. And he just took the money and never gave it back. So Bank Boom Putra collapsed. That was a big, big financial scandal in Hong Kong, which took 15 years of prosecution to resolve. And it was a big scandal in Malaysia. And Mahathir introduced the Internal Security Act, which meant you could arrest people. And the head of Chinese opposition was arrested and spent 2 years in jail. I was wondering, it's quite a divisive movie. Mahathir wrote The Malay Dilemma, which were there any parts of Malaysian history that came into the movie when you were doing the scripts?
No.
You sort of, yeah. And was there a different ending that you might have envisaged from the one that actually happened? I was wondering if, I mean, the ending was quite abrupt.
Yeah. So the Indian scene was not in the original script. So the producer, felt that we should include them as a token, perhaps. But the fact of him thinking of that also suggests that this is how we Malaysian think, that we should do this as a token, just to keep everybody happy. But it does lend like a different layer to the film. Then you start to question, actually they do exist in Malaysia, right? So what happened to them? So that is the question that I always get asked, what happened to the Indian community? How is their world like? I'm curious myself. So yeah.
They're very good at hunting fish. Any next question?
Well, sort of following on from that. So I was saying before, I lived in KL in 1991, 1992. And, I didn't detect any stresses and strains or anything like that. But when I was there and then doing business in the 90s, there was clearly the impact of the new economic policy that was brought in to favour the Bumiputera. And you had to have a Malay partner in your business,
Yep.
all of that. And I know why that was brought in, because there were race riots in the 1960s, and it was a real attempt to deal with that. And I just wonder, I suppose, first of all, how much is your film maybe looking at that and saying that didn't work, and so we've led to this extreme segregation as an alternative? And then the other, although you've talked about it a little bit, but the other question is, like, specifically, how have people in Malaysia responded? Have they seen it as controversial?
The film?
Yeah.
There are more people who sees the message of the film than the others. So when we launched the film on the 21st of December in 2023, we were all sitting in front of our computers, let's see what comments that come in. And I actually have to tell everyone that if anyone tries to provoke us, just stay calm, and we don't need to react, just stay calm. So as a movie plays, and then the comments start coming in, and definitely there were the more aggressive ones. But to our surprise, we didn't need to do anything, because the rest of the comments came in to point out what they are doing, and point out what the message of the film is. So we were so glad that majority of the people actually sees it as it is, and immediately these guys were shot down by all these people. Yeah. So that's why we feel like it's a big relief that we achieve our goal. We just released a film out there, and we just hope for the best, and it had happened that people actually sees the message. they were trying to say.
And sorry, Pendatang, does that mean something in English?
In this context, it means outsider. Yeah, but in a different context, it is usually also used as immigrant. Yeah, so this is one word that was always thrown around in the parliament. So when they are unhappy about certain things, some of the non-Malay say, they will always say, you know, you guys are pendatang, you know, go back to your own country. You know, if you're not happy, go back. Don't try to make any changes here, you know. So that is a clever play of the word from the writer, I believe. So because the moment when I read the script, I said pendatang, it's gonna be some, you know, like controversial political story, you know. But when I read it, I said, no, it's not, you know. So I like how we purposely use that term to be the title of the film, just to invoke people's interest, you know, to find out what is it about.
Any final questions?
Can I just say, as a final question, you were asked whether there was any alternative ending. You mentioned about the Indian, jump in there, but I mean, the ending after that was I mean, I couldn't actually see what was going on, it was so far away. I have no idea, was I not supposed to know what had happened? Is there an alternative ending? Is there a sequel? Did you have a version of this? Give us some. Well, yeah, you know, we're left sort of really wanting, you know, at the end. So,
Yeah. That is also a question I get asked a lot. So the ending suggests that they have crossed over to the Malay side.
Yeah.
So that is when you how do you know that? Because you see now Panda, the little girl, is shielding after her. So that suggests that they have crossed, and the fact that when Auntie Koo was driving the lorry, yeah, so it was the Malay militiaman who is shooting at her. So meaning that she is crossing the border, and the last scene suggests they have already crossed the border, and because little Panda is protecting her instead. But are they alive? And who they met? Who in the script it says is a postman. So that's why we let him use a bicycle instead of something more deadly, and he doesn't carry a gun.
He's in uniform.
Yeah, but he's still in uniform, but he doesn't carry any weapon. So that does suggest that there could be he could be a different one, even when they have crossed to the other side. So it also suggests that actually good people are everywhere, bad people are everywhere too. Yeah. So are they dead or alive? I think that depends on you. I don't know.
We thought.
I don't know. I
You
really
make a
don't know.
sequel of Panda just going Rambo and just taking revenge, just destroying.
You'll find out when in the Netflix.
Netflix adaptation.
Have you been contacted about Netflix?
Yeah, that's my question.
We never tried because the producer believed Netflix won't be interested since it's free on YouTube. Yeah, why would they pay something, you know, when it's already free? Yeah,
They can make their own version adaptation.
probably. If they offer, you know, like money for us to come up with a prequel, a sequel, or like the same universe story. Yeah, why not? We will consider it. Or even you guys are interested, you know, why not? Why wait for Netflix, you know?
I'd be interested to see where it started. So you sort of like in that story, it just happened as segregation at the beginning. But where did that come from?
Exactly.
So there you've got.
So that is also another question I get asked a lot.
Hannibal Lecter, you know, where you have a Silence of the Lambs, but you've got stories before that. This has got a story before it.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
also got a story after it, right?
You write the script.
Yeah, this is a very interesting universe, I must say. There are so many stories to tell in this universe. What happens before? What is the trigger? What is 927? Yeah,
Where
what is
did
the incident?
where did you film it? Where was it in the country?
It's in the state of Perak, which is my home state. Yeah, so one of the benefits I get from this is I get to decide where I want to shoot this. Because this is my first film, I thought, I want to make my home state proud, you know, and shoot it in Perak.
Because it was so beautiful. I mean, for me, it was just because, like you said, I used to have it was such a juxtaposition between the beautiful countryside, the lovely kampong house, and then, you know, dark story.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
And it's interesting because a lot of people also comment that it's such a beautiful house. Why is he complaining about the house? Right? A lot of people would just love to live there, you know?
Yeah. With some aircon.
How did you come up with the medicine, the stealing of medicine idea? That was the main.
The tricky one.
Yeah. Yeah. Who came up with that idea?
That is in the script. So basically, obviously, when the writer wrote the script, he hasn't seen the house yet. So the house that he had imagined in the script is very, very different from the house that we shot in. Because it's just impossible to find a house that fits all the criteria, right? So I actually spent like 4 months just to look for the house. That is even before we started crowdfunding, because I know that it would be the one single hardest task to tackle, to find a house. So before even start crowdfunding, I already based in KL, so whenever I went back to Perak, I would just drive around. I started from Ipoh itself, and then I couldn't find any, so I have to like broaden my radius. Eventually, so this is in between Kampak and Tapa, which is about an hour from Ipoh and 2 hours from KL. That's how far we have to go.
There's no way Commander Ho's actor is amateur. Right? He must have some experience, because he really plays the villain part really, really well.
Yeah.
Real sinister kind of like, yeah.
He's been acting, I think, for probably 10 years or so. But prior to this, he is not an actor who has like 3-4 projects a year. He probably has like 1 project every 2-3 years. So he's not that popular back then. But after this, oh yes, now he is more, he's busier now.
Yeah.
Was there a conscious decision not to put a knife in his back? Because I know many people would want to see that, right?
Yes.
No, but typically in a movie like this,
Definitely.
you'd close it out by killing the bad guy, and everybody goes, "Yeah, thank God for that." But was it a
I'm
perhaps
still
something?
waiting for it.
I know you. Maybe sing us another song. But was it a conscious decision in the sense that, you know, injustice prevails, right? It's in the world, and if he gets his comeuppance, then perhaps it diminishes the message somewhat.
Yeah, I think that's why so many people could relate to the film's rawness, is because in reality, you most likely may not see the people you hate die.
Yeah.
Simple as that, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how when you don't see the father get shot, you don't see the bad guy get shot. You're like, hey, what is this? This is not my normal movie, you know. So I decided on purpose just to throw you off your track that you're not watching a regular movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is more closer to reality.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah.
So thank you, Ken. And also, maybe one last question. What's next for you?
I am shooting TV series. So for me, this is one of the rare occasions where I get to make a feature film like this. And immediately after this, I actually have two scripts written by the same writer, which we are still looking for investors or funders to get made. So in the meanwhile, I'm back at doing TV series for the local stations. So in fact, I'm shooting one right now. We are just on a break because of Hari Raya, the Adil-Fitri. Yeah, so we are resuming in the next few days. And then there's another one, 20 episodes, starting in later this month. Yeah.
Thank you, Ken, very much for. We also, well, this is actually not part of the RCS, but actually, I actually have my own award. This is the 19th Rio Hong Kong Film Awards.
Wow, 19.
Best 2023 Best Independent Film, Pendatang.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow. I didn't expect this.
Or maybe you can say a few words for getting an award.
I would like to thank Andrew for giving me this award. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to do this project, and I would never imagine that one day I would be invited to come all the way to Hong Kong just to have a sharing session with this. So, yeah, thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Andrew, for an amazing evening. Everybody, please have some more pudding. There's lots
Oh, yes.
Whenever
And also, I want to just
His
say, a thing,
birthday
so it's actually Ken's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ken. Happy birthday to you.
How old are you now?
Is there a song for it? No. I'm 48 this year. Okay, I want to share real quick how this happened, how I told Andrew about this. Because today, as you may know, is 22nd anniversary death anniversary of Leslie Cheung.
Yeah.
So I remember 22 years ago, I was planning for my birthday party. So me and my friends, we were all shopping, you know. And then when I heard the news, I said, let's stop this, you know. Are we supposed to like continue to celebrate my birthday, or should we just like mourn?
Yes.
So because we passed by the hotel.
Yeah.
Earlier.
It was huge, isn't it? There were so many flowers there. I was surprised, like after all these years, and it's still huge. So many
Yeah.
people.
I mean, that is how impactful he is actually until now. Like back then, I actually had to consider to cancel the party, you know, in respect.
And then what did your friend say?
No. He doesn't even know you, man. Yeah.
So you got to make a wish
Yes,
now
Oh, yeah,
make a wish,
Make
make
a
a
wish.
wish.
Make a wish. Yeah.
and blow
It's
the
simple. Make more movies and come back to Hong Kong. Thank you. Okay.
Just like some.
Wow.